What is up, guys? It is Tony here, and today we are doing an episode of the montage editing tutorial series, and today we are revisiting an effect that I've probably done about 110 tutorials on. Actually, I've probably done 2. I'm joking. But basically, I've done a lot of these tutorials because it's a very interesting part of editing that's very vital for Call of Duty edits, which is called Twixtor, or pixel motion, or optical flow, whatever you want to call it. We're going to be using optical flow because I prefer optical flow, and it's what I use on Final Cut Pro. Even though you can get Twixtor for Final Cut Pro. Now, today we're going to be talking about when is the appropriate time to use Twixtor. A lot of people use Twixtor for the whole edit. They'll use Twixtor for the whole quick scope. They'll use Twixtor for, like an hour after a shot. You really need to be precise about these things because it's very important because it could add a lot to the flow of your edit. Now, when I would recommend using the Twixtor is on the scope in a little bit, and I would use it on the scope out when he gets the kill. Now, for the scope in, you gotta pay attention to one big thing whenever you're trying to Twixtor, and that's movement. Movement is the name of the game when it comes to slow motion. The more movement, the worse it's gonna look. You really want to make sure there's not a lot of movement, but there is enough to give you the effect. So I'll give you an example. Right here, you'll see he kind of turns around. That's a bad place because now the whole background, as you can see, is moving around. If I Twixtor that, let's go ahead and do it real quick. Let's go ahead and Twixtor that. I'm using the blade tool to cut it. If I Twixtor that a little bit, you're going to notice that everything in the background warps. Warping is bad. It's when everything gets all wavy and looks all messed up. That's basically the effect that you do not want to see when you're trying to do a Twixtor. So let's see if we can see that. Yeah, look at that warping. It's beautiful. No, you don't want that. So I'm going to go ahead and undo all that. And where you really want to go for is when there's no movement on the right analog stick. What do I mean by that? Or the mouse. If you're looking around, that's not a good place to Twixtor. You really want to make sure they're kind of not looking around. Like right here is really good. So he's not looking around at all. He's sort of scoping in and using his left stick to angle himself, which is smart. And it's a good place to do this. So the other thing I would recommend looking for is the scope. See how the scope rapidly moves in here and it gets really large really quick as it gets closer to the eye? You really don't want to use that because now you're going to see loads of warping. Let's give you an example of that. Here's an example. There it is. Let's optical flow that out. I bet you there's no, there is no. I thought there was a short key maybe for optical flow. If there was a short key, I'd probably use it more often. But maybe it'll show us the effect. Yeah, there you go. Look at that warping. It's not as bad, probably because this clip is shot at maybe 60 frames per second. But still, it's not professional, and you don't want it. What I would recommend doing, I usually on the scope ins, I like to go for right when they're about to scope in, and only for a few seconds after. And then I do a really, really long slow-mo. I like to choose the smallest amount of time with the longest amount of percentage of slow-mo. Because when you do those 9% slow-mos, when you do those 5% slow-mos, when you do the 1% slow-mos, it looks amazing. Trust me. You're better off going with a slower motion than going with a longer portion that's only going at 20 or 30%, if that makes sense. So now you can see, look how smooth that is. There's almost no warping. I mean, I could probably cut off the end here because it gets a little warped at the end there. But here, it's like so smooth. There's almost no warping. The guy in the background's moving. He's still in time. So let me go ahead and turn off the volume. Hopefully you didn't hear that. But there you go. Look at that. That's just what you want right there. And then he zooms in. He goes in for the shot. And now we got to slow-mo the end. Now for the end here, there's a lot of motion going on. First off, look at the one-shot kill. That thing's going insane. Look at the score. The score pops up. Boom. And then it starts to fade out a little bit. Then he swings. That's probably the worst thing for any editor who's trying to Twixtor. The swinging motion. Let me show you how bad this looks with Twixtor. We'll go about here. Yeah, that looks good. Let's do that. Now, if I go to let's say 17%. I'm not sure if it's going to do it on 17%. The longer you do the slow-mo or the more intense, you can already see the warping, by the way. See all that? That's not, you don't want that. I mean, the walls are bending. That's not normal. This guy probably is tripping on something. Let's get rid of that. Yeah, you probably don't want that. So what I recommend looking for, first off, is make sure the text isn't moving. Right here, you can see the text is near its end of its path, and the points pop up. This right here is where I would slow-mo. I recommend slow-moing right when the points pop out, because it looks really cool and it adds to the effect. You'll see what I'm talking about. And try to do it right before he swings, because they like to swing after the shot. I don't know why they do that, but they do. And by them, I mean the people who make these clips. Then what you're going to do is find this really small sliver, and you're going to go to like 10% speed. You're going to optical flow it, and you're going to see an amazing Twixtor. There you go. That's good. So as you can see, there is a little bit of warping on the hand. There's a little bit of warping on the guy. Some games you can't control that. The bolt action just sometimes warps. But overall, that is really smooth. And you can see the points look very smooth over there. The sniper's moving very smoothly. And when you play this, it's going to look very nice. You can see right there. Nice and smooth. Looks very professional. And it doesn't look super warped out. And even like right here, you can slow-mo again right here. I would recommend doing that. Maybe if you want, it fits better with your sync. Just slow-mo that too. So let me show you how that looks. So you got boom, boom, and boom. That looks pretty cool. You can even do one right here. Let's go for it again. Here we go. Now this one's a little tricky. Sometimes you can get away with a little bit of movement, but there's a little bit of movement. The wall's probably going to warp. Let's see what happens though. Let's play around with this. Let's see what happens. My computer's going insane right now. It's wondering why I'm making it do so much optical flow. But here we go. There we go. Render that out. Yeah. Oh, yeah, this RAM is just going ham right now. All right, so you see that? Boom, boom. That's pretty good. Now, this didn't Twixtor yet. And then you can zoom in right here, too. Look at this. Bam, look at that. So you get the point. Twixtor's a lot of fun. I have a lot of fun playing with it. It's really the best tool for someone who's trying to create a flow to their edit. So really play around with it and try to perfect it. You can really do some fun stuff with it. And I'm having a lot of fun right now just messing around with this. Let's see how good this looks. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's my tutorial on how to use Twixtor and optical flow the right way. The reason why I call this the right way is because, honestly, there's a lot of people who use Twixtor and it just looks all wrong. It just looks terrible. It's not appealing. It's annoying. So if you guys enjoyed this video, or you guys like, what I'm doing here and you want to see more like this in the future, go ahead and comment and like, and comment if you have any suggestions for future videos, and I'll see you guys next time.